Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This time around we are continuing with the Project Blue build series, and this is part 3 of the main build of the aircraft. We've done some additional videos around that as well. We've done a separate review on the StinGR weight comparison against the GP123. We've done the initial unboxing as well, and I've also released a quick start or quick view of the PowerBox. But this is the third in the build series. So what we're going to do, we are going to do a little bit of configuration on the PowerBox. So I've changed all the servo mappings. We're going to set up all the control throws, and we're going to plug it all together for the first time and basically talk through the 3 different flight conditions that I set up on pretty much every single model, get that ready to go, so the model will then be ready for the maiden flight, which of course I will record separately. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so let's take off the canopy, which has still got the protective film on it. Saving that right to the last minute. Alright, so let me talk you through where we are as a bit of a recap. Zoom in a little bit. That's fine. So, got the receivers in place, although I need to put some tape around them to hold them in, rudder servos in. PowerBox is what we're going to get onto. So I've just connected one battery to the PowerBox. I think you can just see on top of the screen there. We will be running 2 batteries off the PowerBox as well as the 2 receivers. I've left this loose for the moment, so I haven't done the CofG of the model just yet. So I haven't done the battery mounts for the main packs, because if you recall, full electric setup in here using the StinGR system. So what I need to do is actually remap all the outputs for the PowerBox. So when I first configured it, I accepted the default settings and it was telling me to plug servos into random holes. But I want my wiring here pretty tidy. So I want the left aileron on these first 2 channels, or first 2 outputs, which is actually A and D. So they are A and D rather than A and B. So B is here, that is C. It's all labelled on the front of the PowerBox. And then going along from there, on the opposite side, I obviously want the other aileron channel, which is going to plug into this extreme flight adapter here, which wires through to this point. Then coming through the back here, I've got my 2 elevator channels, which go into the front 2 mappings, and then I've got one for the rudder, which I'll have to recall which one is, and then one which is going to be straight through output for the throttle servo, not servo, sorry, for the ESC. So that's basically what I need to do. So these mappings are assigned all over the place at the moment. I need to go through each one of these using the screen and the switch as before to reconfigure through the menu, and then once I've done that, we should be at a point where we can plug everything in and get some stuff moving after we've gone through the setup assistant on the PowerBox. If you haven't seen any of that stuff before, feel free to check out the other video that is linked below, which is when I first unboxed the PowerBox and just got some stuff set up on the bench. I went through the setup assistant at that point. So let me change these mappings and perhaps we'll do the assistant together. Okay guys, let me show you what I've done as a bit of an aid here. So hopefully you can see that, you can, yeah. So I've just drawn out each of the ports, each of the output ports, as per the PowerBox there, and just made a note of what I've got connected. So take through that quickly. Aileron A, which also gets renamed aileron left, is on A and D, obviously not B because they're empty. Elevator left, H, elevator right, L, throttle I, rudder M, aileron B, also the right, on P and T. All the rest of the ports are currently empty. I just find that easier to do a quick mental mapping of that. It's good for the notes as well, before I then go and configure the outputs on the PowerBox themselves. So let's just turn her on. It's one battery on. And let's zoom in and go into the menu on it as well. Just get you adjusted quickly. There we go. Hopefully you can see that well enough on the big screen. Oops. Always do that, don't I? Go too far. Let it focus. There we go. Okay. So hold the power button for 2 seconds. 1, 2, into the menu. I'm just going to show you where we are. So, not the assistant. Outputs. There we go. And that looks very familiar to my sketchy diagram. And you already see that aileron A, sorry, output A, which is what's selected, is assigned to function aileron left. And this used to say aileron A, but it's changed to aileron left because I've run through the assistant quickly, and that's now knows it's the left channel. If I scroll down, B's empty, C's empty, and then D is the other aileron left channel. So that's mapped. If I wanted to change that, I'll just go into one, and then I'll change the, not the function type, that's on gyro, which is correct. We're not using iGyro in here. We could do if we wanted to, but I'm not going to have that on the model. We just change the function here, go across, aileron left, aileron C, etc. But I'm going to leave that on left. That's how you configure. The other two settings at the bottom are to do the gyro, which we're not using. And then just go through the others. Elevator left is correct on H. And then scroll down to I. I've left I on direct because that's going to be the power. It's going straight to the ESC. And then on L should be elevator right, which it now is. And then function output M is function rudder. Only a single rudder servo in this, as I said a couple of times. So that's correct. And then last two are P, aileron right. And then T should be the other aileron right channel, which it is indeed. Exit that. So that's great. So I'm pleased with that. Let's go out to exit the setup altogether. Back to the main PowerBox screen and zoom you out. So I've done that. I've obviously not got the wings plugged in because I'm in the small workshop. About time I said that on this video. I like to say on every video. If we move around to the back and bring you up a little bit. There we go. And bring the transmitter around, which hopefully I'm just about to get in shot. And you can see that I have now got both elevators working together. There's nothing too clever about it. There's no matching done the elevators because they're one servo per elevator as a reminder on individual channels, effectively individual functions. I'll show you that quickly on the linkage menu, just by leaning around the camera. Function. You can see I've got elevator on J2 on channel 2, and the other one on channel 5 is elevator 2. So the PowerBox isn't really doing anything clever from that point of view. I've got full control over the transmitter. I can sub-trim them individually, which is what I've done to make sure they line up with the stab. And then now, you can see they're moving together. I can trim them as one on the main trim as well. And then the rudder's straightforward. Nice fast servos. Obviously I haven't done any setup on the transmitter, and I haven't done any of my flight conditions. You can see just out the box condition there, if that's focusing on the model. We'll do all that separately and I'll show you what I do with my 3 conditions, but I just wanted to show you the fact that they are now moving. Right, so now that we've got the PowerBox looks like it's configured, I might have to do a little bit more on it at the moment, but you know, for now I'm happy that the outputs are there, they're all correct. I've changed the voltage on the PowerBox as well, so you can change in the general settings, you can change the output voltage and you can change the battery type you're using, as well as like the connection methodology, probably not the right word, but the connection you're using to the receiver, so it detects that. So obviously I'm using Futaba receivers, they're using S-Bus 2, but different makes will use different transport protocols, I guess, to be able to talk to the PowerBox. So I hadn't had to change that detect tip. I've changed the voltage and I've changed the fact that I'm using a LiPo packs for the 2 power supplies going in there. So next job is the main one, which I've wanted to do for some time now, teeth in, and that is get the wings on and actually see if we can get these servos matched, so that 2 servos on each control surface, that they're moving together and not sort of causing a twist effect. So I've got to make sure that the rods are the right length. So even though we've got servo matching on the PowerBox, if the rods are different lengths, they're going to move differently and it's not going to work. So I want to get the wings quickly on the bench and just double check those rods, get them connected to the servo heads properly, and then probably find a bigger space to get the wings connected to the model for the very first time, so we can see what it looks like and make sure those ailerons work correctly. Let's get the wing on the bench and sort out these rods. Okay, so quick close up on the rods. I know I haven't screwed in the servo heads at the moment. I'll tighten those up, that's because we're still adjusting. We're just going to measure between the 2 ball joints. So it's about 37 mil on this one. I will also measure between the 2 bolts as well. we see we've got just about 37mm there, and just checking that the other one is also the same as at the same point, so a little bit of adjustment needed, and then we'll repeat the process for each wing. Okay guys, so I've managed to get one wing panel on in the workshop. Model's upside down so you can see both the servos. It's very tight in here. I've not put the screws in yet, so what I want to do is actually check after we've done the rods that these are moving the same way and matching's working. So I think rather than popping ahead, what I'm actually going to do is undo one of the bolts so I can then see the arms moving the same way. It should be fine because we've done the setup assistant and we've remapped since then, but I've not tried it since remapping. So let's pull it out now and give it a go. I'm just going to leave it loose there, and it's going to pop out because obviously it's no bolt through, but just to double check it, better safe than sorry. Okay, let's get a transmitter. On the right model, let's pop that over there. Find the on-off switch because we're all upside down. Where's she gone? Ah, see, just as well I did, because that is definitely in the wrong place. Moving the right way, but I must have done something when I reconfigured them, so let's just adjust that. So I'm a bit confused about that right now. That's definitely in the wrong angle. So why is that like that then? Because that's now too... Almost like they're not matched. Right, really glad that I changed that. Otherwise that would have caused some damage. I think what we need to do is go back into the assistant, make sure our matching's done before we continue. So I don't want to adjust the rod just yet, but I think the servo head needs to be in the right place. So not the head, but the actual cog itself, because I can't, because the teeth on the cog, I can't get that to line up. It's either here, which is wrong, or it's one past, which is wrong as well. So they're not matched properly at the moment. Right, good, worth double checking. Let's turn it off, go back in the assistant, check the matching, and then come back. Yeah, so the bolt's back through. Oh, so that one's still connected up, and then I'm going to go ahead on this, and it says select the channel, so it's already selected, but if I come off it, you can see it's got MA selected on there. So it knows that P has got the primary aileron, the master, selected. Then I'm going to go down and just say start matching. And this should probably put a bit of strain on the slave servo to work out where it needs to match to. Now obviously to find. Good, I've done that wrong. Let's go back. Let's go back to T. I probably need to tell it T is the auxiliary. So I pressed enter on T. Oh yes, it's selected now, it's gone grey. Didn't notice that, so it knows that P and T. So T is the auxiliary, P is the master. Scroll through the other way, Matt. Start matching. Let's see what happens. That looks like it's done its job. There's still a bit of servo chatter going on. So I'll move the stick to the left and to the right. So auto match has done its job. So auto match basically has automatically changed the center point of the auxiliary servo, and it's put a load on this servo to work out exactly where it needs to be to match it with the master servo. So I like that a lot. So let's swap over and do the other wing, and I'll try and take you through it again from the beginning of the process, because obviously I'd already done it once on this wing, so I wasn't sure what was going on. So I bolt this back up, do the big job of swapping the model around and get the other wing connected. Okay guys, so here is the left wing, the opposite wing. Talk you through what I've done. So the inside servo, which I think is the master, is still connected. I've popped the bolt out of the outside servo. I've still got the screws undone as well, but I'm going to try and keep the heads on and just keep the bolt out. I've not powered on yet, so this is the first time I've powered on with this wing panel connected. So let's do that now. Okay, so the servo on the right is now working, although it is doing something a little bit weird. Just watch the stick as well. Move to the right. It's kind of only moving on one part of the stick, not around the middle. Backing off there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and do the match function, like we were about to before, and we will, oops, just knock the transmitter, and we will just put a bolt through as well, so it's pretty much close. Put a little bit of strain on. Actually, let's go to the right setting first. Let's go into the menu. 3 seconds. Let's go through to matching. Get those pliers. And we said it was channel A. So we've already done the initialize on that channel, on the outputs rather, not the channel, output. Let's go to auto matching at the bottom, hit go, connect all servos and linkages, and then select all the auxiliaries. So obviously one master, multiple auxiliaries on the PowerBox. Excuse me while I lean across. Oh, that's better. So already, because I'm in that mode, or in that on the auto matching, this servo's kind of gone loose, so it's not straining it now. Whereas before I couldn't get that bolt through, so I was straining it, so that's a good sign. Get rid of that. So we're going to set the master is A, and then the first auxiliary is D. Only 2 servos. Obviously you could have 3 more, 1 master and 3 extras. But let's go down to D, which is going to be this one. Hit go on that. Then that will mark it grey, which you probably just about see on the screen. Sorry, I know I'm zoomed out, it's always difficult to film and talk and run out of hands really. So let's carry on going to all the way through the rest of the outputs, and then I'm going to say start matching by hitting enter on start matching. Now it's saying it's running. Just watch what the servos do, especially one on the right. Go through a series of tests. Hopefully it should be finding the centre and also the extents as well, the maximums. Okay, so it's finished. It stopped doing what it was doing. I'm just going to exit out of the matching menu. And I'm going to, there was no need to reverse. So if one of those servos was going the opposite way, I could have reversed it. I didn't need to do that, so just exit out of there. Oh, you would have done that before you'd started the matching. Actually, I'm going to exit all the way out. Back to the normal display. Leave that there. Let's grab transmitter. Try and put that in shot somewhere. That'd be alright. So let's see if they're looking good. Perfect. So I think in summary, a couple of things to note there. It's when you go into the matching function, when you start the matching process, that's when you connect up the second rod, because the servo will go loose then, if you like. It won't be under power. You can connect your rod, and then when you start the matching process, it'll go through all those matching and all those testing, and it'll be okay. So I didn't know that before, because when I first powered on the aileron servos, this one was out quite a bit, which is why I disconnected good job I disconnected the rod first. But it's when you go to matching, you can reconnect it, and then you're good to go. Right, really happy with that. So the next job we've got to do, we're going to need a bit more space for, and that is I've got to check the CofG. I've got to work out where to mount, lean across the batteries. So these are two 6S 9,500 packs, which weigh about 1 kilogram each, just over 1 kilogram each. So that's the bulk of the weight there. Hopefully you guys have seen my weight comparison when I compare the all-up weight against the GP123, so equivalent petrol setup. If not, link is below. But yeah, I've left these loose, or left these out right now, so I need to get the plane all assembled, get a string around the main wing tube, lose my words there, and then work out roughly where the CofG is. So let's do that process next. Okay guys, so I've come outside now to fully assemble the model, see what it looks like for the first time, but also to sort out the CofG. So I've got the flight packs, which are two 6S 9,500 milliamp batteries. It's pretty windy out here and it's about to rain, so I'm getting on and do this pretty quickly. I've hooked up a string around the wing tube, which allows me to pick the aircraft up. The first thing I'm going to do is going to place the batteries roughly where I think they need to go, and then yeah, let's see how it is. So we've got the batteries loose at the moment, obviously just working out where the CofG is, and I reckon that was from the last pickup which you just saw. That's probably about right, and if I make it so that I can move them sort of back an inch or forward an inch, that should be okay enough for the test flight. What we want to do is actually try it in the air, trim it out on the 45 degrees line, which you'll see on the maiden, put up 45, half roll, hopefully it's down that line. That's a good way to check that CofG is right. So I think I will go with that. While it's out here and it's all set up, we might have a quick look around it. I'll grab the transmitter as well and just check everything works. So for this video, I think what we'll definitely do is get those batteries mounted and then we can conclude it. So let's do that now. Okay guys, let me show you what we've done. Basically just run some straps. So we've cut some slots through the floor, run the Velcro strap underneath through and back out the other side so we can hook in the battery. Laid a Velcro floor in here. I was tidying up a little bit at the end here, trimming off. Had to take the cowling off to do it because I needed to get up through underneath. We've done that, and now we should be able to securely mount the batteries. So let's test it out. So there we go, batteries are mounted. So let me just pull them up and show you. That's obviously just the Y lead tucked out of the way for a minute, but just one-handed, I'm actually lifting the whole model up off those batteries. They're not going anywhere. They're also unable to slide backwards and forwards because they've got Velcro. So I'm pretty happy. Obviously I will check those after the first flight, but I'm pretty happy they're not going anywhere. They're on the line as well that I made earlier on, so I know the CofG is roughly right. And I've got some room as well. I can move them back if I need to, a bit more tail weight, or pushing forward for a little bit of extra nose weight. So I think I'm happy with that for the test flight. Just by the way, if you've seen this already, I need to swap out this Y lead. This isn't ideal going through these EC5 connectors. I ordered the wrong one. I needed a QS8 to QS8 to QS8, female, male, male, and I just bought the wrong one, EC5 on it. My mistake, but we'll get that swapped out for the maiden flight. It was only in there for test. So we are actually getting there now. Let's have a quick recap on what we've done. I can't even remember. We've finished mounting the PowerBox. Now that was a previous video. We've just done the CofG. I can remember that. We've set up all the control surfaces. We've plugged all the model in together for the first time. We've done a little test on the throttle as well. That was cool. It's Wednesday today. I want to test fly this on Sunday. So if I get time, I'll also put the pilot in, and you'll get to find out which pilot you guys have chosen. So as a recap, it was either the Extreme Flight pilot or the pilot that's been sprayed up as the Punisher pilot. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, please, and join me for the maiden flight, which will be up next time round. I'll see you then. Thank you very much.